Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Gut Over It. We have power. We have water. We are so excited. Guys, I couldn't make it last night because there was no power, there was no water, and we just got power back today. I'm Dr. Vivian Asamoah. I'm in Texas, Houston, and I went through it like all of you guys. And very excited to have water back on today. Very, very, very happy. I thank God that we have water. I was screaming, I was jumping with my family. We were so excited. And then it kind of hit us. Okay, this water that we are told to boil, what are we supposed to do? So that's what I want to talk about tonight, guys. I did my research because I wanted my family to be safe, but I want you guys out there to be safe as well, okay? So let me go back to, for those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Vivian Asamoah. If you're listening to this live, you've got power, you've got internet, whoop, whoop. If you're listening to this on the replay, please enjoy it. But I'm a gastroenterologist in Katy, Texas, and I'm going through this challenge for the month of February to talk about a GI topic every night. And something that's relevant, something that you want to discuss with your primary care doctor or your gastroenterologist, but don't have enough information. So I'm just sharing some edutainment and making sure this is fun but educational. And I'm also doing a lot of research as I get into this. My practice is in Katy. We are taking new patients. I'm a board certified gastroenterologist trained at Hopkins. I'm also a functional medicine provider. Tonight is a topic that again connects the two, right? Conventional GI and functional medicine, my love and passion for both. Why this topic about the safety of water is so important. It's really important because water is a very, very important life source. And we drink it every day and we do take it for granted. But even before this public announcement came out to boil our water, the question is, how safe is our water in Texas, in Houston in general? So I'll talk a little bit about what I know, and then we'll get into some details, and I'll give you guys some resources for websites that you can go and look at. But the mandate is to boil our water right now, and this is because of the water pressure being so low that a biofilm of bad bacteria, viruses, parasites, algae, whatever, with that low pressure, a biofilm can accumulate in these pipes. And this biofilm is basically just a biofilm of microorganisms, of bugs, that if we drink the water, we can actually get infected, right? And so that's why they're asking us to boil, because at scathing hot temperatures, we will kill or destroy a lot of this biofilm, right? So this is it's like a melting pot of just bad bugs that just sit in low pressure water, because it's almost like a puddle or like a stagnant pool that just sits there and it just breeds and breeds and breeds. So we get most of our water from the Trinity, most of our water in Houston from the Trinity River into Lake Livingston, and also from the San Jacinto River into Lake Conroe and into Lake Houston. And this water is cleaned and purified to federal requirements, right? Federal requirements doesn't necessarily always mean that the water is completely clean. It just meets the federal requirements. So there's a website that I love called Environmental Working Group. If you haven't checked it out, please do, EWG.org. And this is actually a 5013 NGO group that really takes it to heart. It is their passion to make sure that people globally, all around the world, are getting safe drinking water. And they look not only at just bacteria and bugs and that can harvest and harbor in water, but they also look at chemicals. And for the longest time, you know, as functional medicine advocates, we've also always said that the quantity of chemicals in our water, the quantity of perchlorate, the quantity of arsenic, the quantity of little chemicals that we may not always think of that meets federal requirement, but from a scientific standpoint is way too high in concentration. If you're drinking that water cumulative over years, is dangerous. We'll put that one aside, but EWG is a great website to look at for that kind of information, because you can put in your zip code and it can tell you how many sort of different toxins or chemicals are in your water, right, in your local area that exceed the recommendations federally and also exceed the recommendations by EWG standards. So check that out, take a look at it, because I did mine. and I want to show you guys the information. I always do mine. I check it quite regularly, and these reports are online and available. So when I put in my zip code, I got 13 that exceeded the guidelines, that exceeded EWG health guidelines. There were 46 total contaminants. And here I'm just talking about chemicals and toxin contaminants, right? So please check it out for yourself. Legal does not necessarily mean safe, especially when it's cumulative. So we can talk about that. But let's go back to the boil water mandate, right? This is happening because the water company has tested our waters, and most likely they have found microorganisms, right, that are growing beyond federal guidelines, right? So this is normal, it's expected. And they're asking us to boil our water. You have to be really careful because not only is the water not clean right now because of the low pressure, but we probably had power outages, our fridges weren't working, so foods may have been perishing or close to perishing, we may have been eating. So our immune system is a little bit weakened. We haven't been able to wash as well, and we haven't been able to get fresh foods. So our immune system is a little bit weakened by all of that. And adding to that, unclean drinking water, unclean, unsafe water may just be the thing that just gets those symptoms started. So if you are experiencing nausea, abdominal cramps, diarrhea, and you're noticing this in several family members, you got to talk to your primary care doctor. You got to go see, not necessarily your GI doc. This is normally something your primary care doctor can help figure out, whether stool studies are needed. And it's important you see somebody, because if there is an epidemic that breaks out of a particular strain, we want to know, because we want to know exactly what antibiotic or antiviral or what kind of treatment we should ensue, especially if it's something that doesn't heal very quickly. So take note, abdominal cramping, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. It's important, especially if there are multiple family members involved, to take heed and talk to your primary care doctor or your gastroenterologist and figure out what's going on. But more importantly, you have to know that you have to boil everything that you use, right? So it's not just drinking water, but it's also water that moms may even use to heat up, bottle-fed milk for their babies, or even heat up the bottle itself. Be careful. Humidifiers, if you are using humidifiers, make sure the water is boiled. Neti pots, neti rinses, make sure the water is boiled. Spacers for your babies, for your children that you're washing, right? Kids who have asthma or allergies, please make sure the water is boiled. If you guys are finding this interesting, please go ahead and leave a like, share some love, leave a comment, share this with someone who may not know. But these are the small things we need to think about. I wouldn't go ahead and take a shower right away, because your shower head could be contaminated with the biofilm. So put it in a bucket, boiled water, and bathe with that. Be careful with children, right, who are opening faucets and washing their hands and then perhaps putting their hands in their mouths. You want to I put like red tapes on our faucets so the kids know that they shouldn't open the faucets, and they can go ahead and get the water right away from the boiled water that we have sitting on our stove. So just think about these little things that sometimes kids are not always aware of, because if you are just having a shower like that, some of it is going to go into your eyes. That's a mucous membrane that could be contaminated, into your mouth. There's biofilm there, guys. So we want to boil everything, and at least I would say for the next week or so, it is safer to bathe with boiled water, to wash hands with boiled water, to do all of these things with boiled water. Now they're saying, well, you can wash your hands and use Purell. That's if you want to use that alcoholic wipe on your hands. It's probably safer than nothing. So I think, yes, go ahead and boil the water. Now about bottled water. Bottled water, actually, for many reasons, I don't like it. One, the plastic, right, it's just bad for the earth. Generally, the plastic doesn't recycle well. The second thing too is that the plastic and heat can let off a lot of chemicals and toxins straight into the water. And we know that a lot of that can be carcinogenic. And surprisingly, bottled water companies don't undergo the same safety and monitoring standards that our water company have. So we're not really exactly always sure about how clean that bottled water is. So if you are getting bottled water, and I understand in the setting of an emergency like just make sure you're looking for labels that says that this has been tested and approved by at least one of the higher federal federal sources of water testing, right? So be careful that you're actually looking for labels. If not, sometimes bottled water is not as clean as we think it is. Sometimes it's just tap water that's just filtered down a little bit, but doesn't get rid of everything. So be careful with your choice of bottled water, okay? Personally, what I'm doing for my family is I think we're probably all gonna be drinking a natural Botanical Biofilm Buster. If you're interested in knowing what the name is, I'm happy to share that with you. We're probably gonna drink that for a few days. It's just a combination of different herbs that are known to destroy microbes. And so we just put a couple drops in water. We drink that about 3 times a day just to clean out the gut and make sure everything is healthy. Not just only related to the water, but because our fridge was out for a while, we've got rid of some perishable, perished items, but just to make sure. So we're using this natural biofilm herbal buster as a preventative therapy first, okay? If you want to learn more about that, send me a message in the comments and I will share more. So let's see, I talked about being careful with children in the house. Now, people who are going to be really affected by this, even small concentrations of that biofilm getting into their gut, are people who are immunocompromised. The same category of people who are more prone to COVID infection, right? People who have chronic illnesses, people who are taking immunosuppressants, people on chemotherapy, people on steroids, anything that diminishes your immune response. And of course, people who at base don't eat a very healthy diet with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. So be careful with those people in your family or yourself. Make sure you're boiling all of your water and using that boiled water for absolutely everything for the next couple of days. I would say even the full week. And remember those hidden sources of where you may be using water to do little things. And I'm looking at my diffuser right now, boiled water before I put the essential oils in there, because you're going to be smelling this mist. And if it's got biofilm in it, you will probably get infected. So not trying to scare, right? But just be cautiously aware that they've put this mandate out, most likely because they've identified microorganisms in the water. So that's about microorganisms. We've talked about symptoms you may have. I want to just segue a little bit more into toxins that can exist in the water. That is happening at base. Without even this water pressure issue, the federal law mandates that we have a certain limit number of toxic chemicals in the water, but it's not at scientific standards. They're saying that this is basically what you need not to have, and they're not carcinogenic or toxic at this point. But the problem is sometimes they don't take into account the cumulative effect of drinking this tap water that has, and even bottled water that has stuff in the lead, in the pipes, that could be contaminants. So please check out Environmental Working Group website, EWG.org. A lot of great information about water filtration systems. You having great water filtration systems in your home. It doesn't have to be all the way to the expensive reverse osmosis type, although that is the best type of filtration system. You have carbon filtration systems that are actually decent. So please check out the website, because we know as a functional medicine provider that it's a cumulative effect of these environmental toxins that over time can accumulate in your system and cause hormonal issues, autoimmune issues, neurological issues, pro-carcinogenic cancer development issues. So water is that life source. We drink it every day, right? Bottled water is not necessarily the solution. Again, it is not always clean. Tap water meets certain standard, but does it meet your safety standards? Does it meet scientific standard? So be sure to educate yourself. This is important for your family, especially when you have young kids you're bringing up, and get the best type of water for your family in your home. Make sure it's filtered water. It's not just the filter in your fridge, but really make sure that it's clean, purified, and filtered water that is healthy for you. I hope this was helpful information to you guys, just to help you understand the mandate about boiling water, why this is so important, why this can lead to GI issues, why you have to check for those hidden sources of water in different parts of your house. Do not have a shower with the faucet. That's all biofilm all over you. Please be careful. Boil, boil, boil if you have power. And oh my gosh, aren't we so glad the power is back? For those who it is, for those who it isn't back yet, we're thinking of you, we're rooting of you, and you guys just enjoy the moment, right? Let's just enjoy every single moment in life. Life is too short. It is way too short. Love on your family, hug on each other, and be safe. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.